Hey, Shalom. We are the I.S.U.P.K under command of Yahanna. Stored at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Teaching blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians that we are the real Jews of the Bible, the people of the Bible who people say no longer exists. People say, no longer matter. They are the people today, the poor people today, the people of the ghettos, the people of the barrios, people on the reservations, the poor, the black, Hispanics, Native American Indians who are consistently being oppressed by this oppressor here in America and across the world, in the islands of Puerto Rico, Mexico, Haiti, Venezuela, Brazil, across the world. All those being oppressed are God's chosen people. And they only want you to not exist so that they can continue to prosper, right? Because the minute blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians know who they are, then their kingdom ends. The kingdom that exists now, who's oppressing us, ends, right? So that's why, as long as you don't know who you are, you'll keep doing drugs. You'll keep selling drugs. You'll keep doing every evil thing under the earth. And what happens in turn is the Lord will keep punishing you. The Lord will keep punishing us, right? And as long as the Lord is punishing us, guess what? Then they can continue to prosper, right? So that's why we, the I.S.U.P.K, we hit the streets fiercely, right? And battle and debate and plead with our brothers and sisters of the 12 tribes of Israel to return back unto the Lord, right? The Lord has given us a gift in the I.S.U.P.K, just as he's always done. He's always given, his people a savior. He's always given you Moses. He's given you Samson. He's given you reputable men, who love their people more than themselves to come and deliver you. And here he's given us Commander Yahanna with the generals under him, the captains under him, the officers under him to go forth and do the work, right? But until we get under this, until we get ourselves in order as a people, then we could never, really come out of captivity, right? It says this in the book of Deuteronomy. I have Cap Ashaparium in the building, Salaki. Cap Ashaparium holding it down for me, man. One of the brothers who really raised us up. When me and Thamayam came into school, Salakia, to divert from the topic, right? Because I got to give this brother credit. When Israel knows Cap Ashaparium. When me and Thamayam came to the school, we knew Cap Mashak, Cap Nayathak, Cap Ashaparium, right? That's who we met. And those and for the young men in the school, right? And for all the brothers in the school, it's like the men above me, of course. I'll never forget when I used to watch the videos, I used to see those same brothers. So I couldn't wait to see them, even before coming to the school. So now when I'm walking, I'm like, it's like seeing a star, it's like, oh, that's the brother I seen on the street blazing. That's him. So I say that to say there are brothers watching you now who, when they come in, they want to see you. They want to meet you. I'll be honest, right? There was brothers I was happy to see because I've been seeing them, and there was brothers I was looking to see I didn't see. Right, so it was mixed for me. Right. So the water to you, Cap Ashaporium, and for really helping us and bringing us up in this truth. Right. Yeah, the generals, the captains, everybody, So Khan. Khan. So if we go, please, Cap, Salaka, sir, to Deuteronomy chapter 7. Deuteronomy chapter 7. And we're gonna go to verse 6.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
That's the Lord speaking through Moses, right? Moses delivering a message to a people who thought they were nothing, a people who've been in slavery for 400 years under the Egyptians, right? And this is what Moses, the Lord wanted Moses to say to the people. Salak, so if you could read one more time for me.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
You are a holy people. And the reason that had to be said to them is because they didn't know they were a holy people. They will call themselves Egyptians. They were living the Egyptian lifestyle, and they thought they could just blend in. And their way of blending in is the same way blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians blend in today. They try to buy the love of the oppressor. They try to celebrate the oppressor's holidays. They dress like the oppressor. You know, I'll be seeing these videos where, you know, a bunch of black men, they dress regular first, and then, you know, they put their hand in front of the camera and they reappear with tuxedos on. And everybody's like, oh, these are strong men. They're not strong men. The only reason you're calling them strong is because they look like your oppressor. That's not their culture, though. That's not what God called them to be. They are, you know, I see videos where they're clean shaved, you know, the hairstyles the oppressor approves of, you know, and they think that's strong. The Israelites back then also thought being under the Egyptians was strong. I mean, and that's why Moses had to tell them, you're not like the Egyptians. You're not like the Hittites, the Moabites, none of them, you know, and this is who you are. Read one more time for me, Cap. So like it.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
You are a holy people. What does it mean to be holy? It means separate. You know, it means to be separate. I know the church teaches that holy means that you are, you know, you're just dancing like a buffoon. That's not what holy means. Like you got some demon on you or some what they call the Holy Ghost, you know, and you just twerking and shaking and rolling around the floor. That is not what holy means. Holy means, if you look it up, holy means to be separate, right? If you want to understand what holy means, imagine a piece of cake, right? And the baker cuts his piece off first and says, this piece is holy unto me, meaning that this piece belongs to me. You can have the rest. I mean, it's separate. It's something set aside, you know, something that's not for everybody else, right? But it belongs to somebody specifically. And that's what the children of Israel were to the Lord, right? They are holy people unto the Lord thy God.
The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
The Lord thy God, the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has chosen you. You understand? Blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians. They have chosen you to be he has chosen you to be a special people unto himself. You have to understand that. This is something that, you know, it's so serious. It's so serious, Cap, that he would punish us over it. Right. You know, it's not something that's light. When you hear God has chosen you, you don't understand why. Like you looking at the news and you see, oh, there's another brother, another rapper who just died. It's another brother, Cap. It's from Philly. They just murdered him recently, right? And here's the crazy thing. He was with his girl, right? And his girl was just bragging, and she dropped where the address where they was at, and thieves came in and killed him for his jewelry. It's all over social media. Something PNB, right? And here's the funny thing, Kat. Thieves broke in and murdered him for his jewelry, right? When he was 3, guess how his father died? Same way, right? And the thing that brother didn't get to understand, and that we who are still here have a chance to understand for ourselves, for our children, right? The thing that we get to understand is that we are a holy people, and we will be punished if we're not treating ourselves as such. If we're not raising up our children as such, then we are lining them up to be slaughtered. You know, because let me tell you something right now. The Lord will hold you accountable. He holds us accountable, right? When he's saying you're a holy people, a special people unto him, don't think that like the average simple brother looks at that light and he thinks, well, I'm special to the Lord. He thinks like, if you think like a Christian, you're special to the Lord, meaning what? The Lord's just a genie at this point. He had to grant you 3 wishes, right? Or grant you unlimited wishes. Well, if Christians didn't understand yet or have not understood yet, not one of your wishes have come true. There's something wrong. You ask for riches and gold, you got poverty. You got your sons and daughters taken from you. So you have to understand that something is wrong. And that's why the scriptures calls a Christian arrogant, because you have to be really arrogant to be in the situation you're in now and not acknowledge something is wrong. And not acknowledge that, maybe the Lord is not with me. Right? Even though he's saying I'm a holy people unto him, according to these scriptures, we're reading it now. So if you're a holy people unto the Lord, thy God, and the Lord thy God has chosen you to be a special people unto him, what is the problem? If you could keep reading, please, Cap.
No, sir. Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
This is what Christians hate to read, Cap. They teach all this equality stuff. There's nothing equal with the Lord. There's nothing equal with the Lord. There's nothing equal about anything he does. There's nothing equal in the jungle, right? There's a king of the jungle, right? There's nothing equal in any military, right? And there's also nothing equal amongst the nations. The Lord is telling you right here that he has chosen you to be a special people above all people, right? That's not equal. That's not teaching equality. That's showing that he prefers one over another, right? Go ahead, sir.
Verse 7, the Lord did not set his love upon you, nor chose you, because you were more in number than any people.
Slacker, sir, there's somebody making a comment here. Some Everett Bryant. Yeah. No, I mean,
yeah, I'm not even paying no mind because that's the last time the person says something. You just keep going.
Come on, sir. Because you just caught my attention because they say talking never solves anything, but talking is what got you into whoredom. I mean, somebody slick talking, you got you into whoredom. The same way this talk could give life. Some brother, it may not move you, but there's some brother who's gonna hear what the school has to say and change their lives, and they won't come in and kill you and your family.
Oh, no. The Lord spoke the word, and life came to exist.
Kawan, sir.
So somebody is being very simple. Don't even think out the thoughts that they're coming out their mouth.
Right, Kawan, because they saying talk means nothing. This is the period she wants somebody to go into the slaughter, right? While she sits home and watch while people go and die, right? We don't have to do that. All we got to do is convince our brothers and sisters to get off drugs. That's all the Lord asks you to do. Lord ain't asked you to go and fight with the FBI. The Lord put the FBI there as a penalty for you if you don't stop sinning.
Well, even the Lord said, cry out loud, spare not.
Right.
He also said that which proceeded out of my mouth shall not return to me void.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he said this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And whatever he said, that's what's going to happen.
Right. You understand what I mean? In fact, if I could, sir, not to even take too much attention on this topic, but one of the biggest weapons that has been weaponized against black people is music, because words mean things. And they have spirits, right, sir? So they weaponize that against us, and they convince a young sister to go and show off her body and to undress and to twerk, right? They convince a young brother to go and be a drug dealer. Why can't we talk about righteous things to convince people to be righteous? You understand? It may not work for you, but it worked for me. When I heard Commander Yahanna, when I heard General Hyman, when I heard, Captain Rashad, Cap Ahwaryam, all these brothers blazing on the streets, it worked for me. Right. I stopped doing what I was doing wrong. That's right. You understand what I mean? It may not work for you. Maybe some people do have, and you know what? Slack is to go on this rant, but some people do have to die for others to get the lesson. Maybe that's the one you chose. I chose to listen. I mean, I chose to listen. I chose to learn from the experience of others. I chose to learn not to do what others did based on what happened to them. I mean, so if you don't want us to talk, you don't have to stay here, sis. I mean, Lord be with you.
Oh, that's a female?
Come on.
Oh, they've been here before?
No, I don't recognize this person. Salaki.
So I don't know if it's a female, but because I've seen, dudes with that type of name. Well, let's not even
Con.
dwell on this. We've not made no more comments after that.
Con, sir. Con, sir. So like it just threw me off. Like, if I could one more time, sir. Right. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse. Con.
The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor chose you, because you were more in number than any people.
Listen, the Lord is not like men. The Lord does not see something and say, hey, I want this associated with me. The Lord builds from the ground up. You understand what I mean? The Lord is not blessed in knowing you. You blessed in knowing the Lord. You understand? So the Lord didn't go in and say, hey, who has the most people that could represent me? Who has the best kingdom? Who has the best warriors? Who has the most sons? That's not what he said. It says, read one more time, Cap.
The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor chose you, because you were more in number than any people.
That's not why the Lord chose you. If you and this is a lesson, and this is a cut, Salakia, sir. This is a cut for the mega churches. You think the Lord is choosing you based on your numbers? You have not been paying attention to the Lord's reputation. You think the Lord is choosing you because you have how many people? You've shown how big your choir is, how many men you can walk up the street with.
Yeah.
That's not what the Lord is looking for. He's not looking for numbers. If you're looking to impress the Lord with numbers, go and read what happened with the brother who took the 300 into war when the Lord had to cut down his numbers.
Right.
To understand the Lord's not looking for numbers. The Lord did not choose you, Israel, because you was more than the Africans, right, because you was more than the Egyptians, because you was more than the Assyrians, because you was more than the Edomites. That's not what he chose you. And this is humbling because he's telling you didn't do anything special for him to choose you. Right? If you could, Cap, keep reading. Salaki, sir.
For you were the fewest of all people.
Remember that, black man, Hispanic man, Native American Indian man. You were the fewest of all people. You understand? You was a small in number. You were small in wealth. You were small in power. But he chose you. Right? Salaki, sir.
You notice it said, for you were the fewest of all people. What do they call us today as a group?
The minorities. Khan. Excellent point, sir. You understand? You're a minority now, and the Lord still chose you. Our Waja said PNB Rock, right, is the brother's name.
Yeah, I can quickly his picture.
Khan. Yeah. I mean, it's heartbroken. I see a lot of, it always, if I select a little bit off topic, we'll get right back to the topic. It always, it's sad. It's very sad when you see young black men, young Hispanic men dying, chasing vain dreams. You understand what I mean? And they die for nothing, right? And the only way to keep them, the only way to keep them from dying like that, they have to, they have to make themselves different from the rest. I mean, it reminds me of the sister who the Lord sent the prophet Ezekiel to, Elijah to. It was the prophet he sent her to, where there was a famine in the land. The Lord sent that brother to that sister, right, and Yahushua was breaking it down. Yahushua said there were many widows in the land of Israel in those days, but the Lord sent only one, a prophet. Right. I'm gonna tell you right now, as everybody was heartbroken over these young brothers who are dying, let me tell you something. There are many young brothers in the ghetto who are gonna die. You understand? Did the Lord send you a prophet? Did the Lord send somebody to you? Right? Because he puts us on the street corners every week pleading with you to get off drugs, to get off Islam, to get off Christianity, to get off all these evil things that we've been doing, man. And if we don't change, we're gonna die. Like how should I said it? Were the Chaldeans the worst sinners? I'm paraphrasing. Were they worse sinners than anybody else? Was that brother a worse sinner than you? That's what you have to ask yourself. Was he worse than you? Because guess what? If we don't change, we'll die the same way. You understand? And the only thing to keep us from dying that same way is to hear the word of the Lord, man. That's why it was so evil what that person said there is talking about, talking doesn't change anything. You understand what I mean? Talking, if that brother would have heard us, he'd have been alive today. You know what I mean, Salaki, Cap. Yeah, if I could, verse 7 one more time from the top. Salaki.
Deuteronomy 7:7. The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor chose you, because you were more in number than any people. for you were the fewest of all people.
Right. You were the fewest of all people. Go ahead, sir.
Verse 8, but because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, hath the Lord brought you hath the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt.
That's so I can say that's such a parallel. Like I don't see, like I guess I can't be mad that they don't see it because I didn't see it either before I came into the school. This parallel that is happening over and over and over again. You know what I mean? I don't see the parallel. I didn't see the parallel before, but it's such a clear parallel as to Salaki, sir.
Right. So sister or what you say that brother asked him for a breakdown to prove that women can wear jewelry.
That woman can wear jewelry. Yep. Okay. We'll get to it, Roger. If I could, sir. Or you want me to cover that now?
Or finish your point.
Come. We'll get to it, Roger. Just hold on for me, Baba Kasha. Right. If you could, give me Deuteronomy chapter 32, sir.
30.
Deuteronomy chapter 32. We go in verse 8, right?
Deuteronomy 32 and verse 8. When the Most High divided the nations their inheritance.
Again, the Most High did what? He divided nations their inheritance. Meaning what? He gave everybody inheritance, right? He gave everybody inheritance, meaning that there's no mistakes. There's no, it was no mistakes in what he was giving out. Think of a king who's giving out inheritances to everybody in front of him. Everybody gets their plot. Right? Go ahead, sir.
When he separated the sons of Adam.
When he what?
When he separated the sons of Adam.
Everybody who's trying to bring everybody on earth together is an enemy of God. Here's telling you the Lord from the beginning, he separated everybody. He separated everybody. Go ahead, sir.
He set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
He set the bounds of the people according to the number of children of Israel. If you understand what that means, that's telling you that, all right, he's going to separate give everybody the inheritance, right? But it's based on Israel. Meaning that Israel is the root. Israel is who will benefit off all these people getting inheritances. When you read about all these lands, we have oil, we have trees, we have gold. You understand that that's their inheritance, that's fine. But when you read the book of Revelations, and it says the kingdom of heaven, the doors will not open. Day and night, the heathen will bring the riches into the kingdom. They will not close. So like I said. You understand? So that's why he's telling you there. He set the bounds according to the number of the children of Israel. Go ahead, sir.
Verse 9. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
That's it right there. Read it again, Salaki said. And Salaki said, we like, as a Christian, I used to read this so as if it meant nothing. Like, this is heavy what the Lord is telling you. The reason that this means nothing today is because they took the children of Israel off the earth. Like, they don't exist. Right. If you read this today and you knew who the children of Israel were, you would look at the children of Israel differently than you look at them today. Because this is God speaking. And he said this. Read one more time, sir.
Deuteronomy 32 and verse 9. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
Jacob is the Lord's portion is his people. Meaning that, just like we gave the example earlier with that cake, he cut that piece off. This is his portion. I don't know what you're going to do with the rest, but this portion here is holy. That's why we read it earlier, that you are a holy people above all people, black man. And you need to understand that, Hispanic man, and you got to get that into your head, Native American man. You have to understand that, because until you understand that, you won't understand what's going on the earth. I came into the school, sir. I came into the I.S.U.P.K, and suddenly the world made sense. I was not surprised that black people being murdered by the oppressor. I was not surprised that black people killing black people. I was not surprised at anything. I was not surprised at the way the Christian church is set up. the way the Muslim, it all made sense once I understood what these scriptures were teaching. And this is what we offer. Like, we teach this so that you can understand life and you'll know how to navigate through life. Because you going through life not knowing who's your enemy and who's your friend. And I'm telling you right now, you think I'm talking about the oppressor. I'm telling you, the Lord is not the person you want as your enemy. He has chosen you to be a special people unto him. There would be no oppressor if the Lord didn't put him on your head. Because we can't keep simple orders. You understand me? We want to do everything the heathen do. We want to follow their customs. We getting ready for what? Halloween now? And then we're going to Thanksgiving. And then we're going to go into Christmas. And guess what? Black people will continue to be oppressed and continue to die because we don't know what we're doing to ourselves. I mean, so when he says that you are his portion and the lot of his inheritance, he means that, right? And because you don't know who you are, you don't know he's talking to you, you know, you don't take it serious. We don't take it serious. You know what I mean? But if I guarantee you, sir, if they found out, if some lawyer knocked on their door and they say, hey, are you so-and-so? Well, according to this will, I have $1 billion to give you. All of a sudden now yeah, that is me. If that's the wrong name, you'd be like, nah, I could prove to you that it's a misspelling, but it's me. You know, you find every way to prove to that man who you are. But because you don't believe in the Lord, then these words don't mean nothing. These words mean everything to me. I mean, they mean everything to me because it has power now. These words have power in my life. Because now I have to make everyday decisions and realize that I am the lot of his inheritance. I am Yasha Allah, the son of the power. I can't do this. I can't do that. You know what I mean? I can't behave in such ways. You know, I have to carry myself a certain way because I understand what the Lord is saying here. Salaka, sir, if you could, please.
Which one?
You keep reading.
Deuteronomy 32:10. He found him in a desert land and in the waste-howling wilderness. He led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye.
All words, right? He said to him, he instructed him, he spoke to him, and he kept him as the apple of his eye. What does it mean to be the apple of somebody's eye? That's the focus. That's basically what it means. The apple of your eye means that you're the focus, right? He kept us as the apple of his eye, right? But here is the issue, black man, Hispanic man, and woman, Native American, Indian man and woman. Here is the issue. If we drop down to verse 16, you'll realize the tone quickly changes.
Deuteronomy 32:16. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods.
So here's the problem. You understand? They, meaning we, blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians, we provoked the Lord to jealousy with strange gods. Go ahead.
With abominations provoke they him to anger.
With abominations. So the Lord is saying you're his portion, you're his special people, right? That comes with responsibility. That comes with, it comes with responsibility. But if you can't do what the Lord is saying, then you have provoked him to anger, right? And what we did is we provoked him to anger by putting our faith in the gods of the heathens. We want to be American. We want to salute the flag. We want to be a Christian. We want to follow Caesar Borgia. I mean, this is a strange God right here. This right here is a strange God, right? And we provoke him to jealousy. You could go into as sweet as your grandma is right now, right? She has this bastard here on her wall. She is offending the Lord. I mean, she is offending the Lord. Now, I'm not saying we're going to kick in grandma's door and start destroying her property, but we have to speak words to her that she understands that this right here is not acceptable. You understand? Let her know who she is, right? Teach her so that she could destroy herself. It means more if she destroys it than if you destroy it. You understand what I mean? It means more if she destroys it. That has more power in it because you destroy it, she's going to go buy another one. She's going to buy a bigger one and offend the God more, offend the Lord more. You know what I mean? But if you show her that it's wrong and she destroys it, then she has want a little mercy from the Lord for all the sins that she's done in relation to that demon. Right? Go ahead, sir.
Verse 17. They sacrificed unto devils, not to God.
That's it. They put their faith in these devils. You know what I'm saying? They sacrifice unto devils. They get ready to sacrifice unto the devils very soon with all these holidays I just mentioned. Halloween, Thanksgiving.
Your birthday.
It's somebody's birthday today, and they're sacrificing unto devils as we speak. And they did not sacrifice unto God. Meaning what? They did not serve the Lord. I mean, we have high holy days here in the I.S.U.P.K, man. We serve the Lord. I mean, before I came into the school, before all of us came to the school, we didn't even know what a high holy day was. We didn't know what, even if we knew a little bit about it, we heard about the Sabbath service, it was done in such an evil way that we were still sacrificing unto devils. I mean,
and whenever we heard about Passover and the dedication, we assumed it was somebody else's culture.
Right.
Not knowing that all the while it was our culture that somebody else stole.
Right. Right. 100%. I mean, and these Christian churches are so evil, man. They are in a bit of a fight against us to keep you doing things their way. One thing I know for sure, any Christian church, even if they go by the Bible, because the Bible is so much about Israel, they can't completely eliminate Israel. You know what they do? They call themselves spiritual Israel, Israel of God, right? Because the people of the Bible, according to them, don't exist no more. So now what do they have to do? Now they start partaking in the Passover. You know how ridiculous it is to have an African celebrating the Passover? Like, if I was a Egyptian, the real Egyptians, I'd be very offended by the Passover. I mean, I would be very offended by the Passover because why should I be celebrating? This is the death of my people. Right? But now today, the Egyptians are celebrating the Passover. You got them sitting in the Christian church, happy. But they should be mourning and should take that as a lesson.
And very, very afraid.
And very afraid. Khan. Very afraid. Go ahead, sir.
To gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not.
New gods who newly came up, who your fathers don't know who the hell you're talking about. When Abraham don't even know who the hell Santa Claus is. You're gonna tell him, hey, Santa Claus, hey, Caesar Borgia. Who? I mean, I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna give you another one, sir. You go and tell King David the black woman is God, he might take your head off. And I'll be keeping the law. Come on, God. You know what I mean? They don't know who your gods are. The gods that you're calling on today, your rappers that you think are so amazing with lyrics, with words. They're nobody. These strippers or these Instagram models y'all worship, they're not gods, right? The Lord, these people never saved you from nothing. In fact, the gods that Blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians worship today only put you in more debt. Only put you in, like, if you worship fashion, for example, you got to have a Gucci belt. All that stuff is putting you into more slavery, more debt. You understand? They can't help you. The Lord has helped us consistently throughout the years. You know what I mean? Throughout the generations, has given us laws, has instructed us how to be righteous, has instructed us on how to deal with each other. You understand what I mean? You want to worship the black woman, and every year you worship in a different black woman because you can't keep that black woman. Every year you have a new God because you've been divorced 7 times, but she's God. Do the math. You understand what I mean? Keep reading, sir. Come on, no sir.
Verse 18, of the rock that begat thee, thou art unmindful, and has forgotten God that formed thee.
Of the rock that beget thee, you are unmindful, meaning that you're not even thinking about the Lord. I'm going to tell you this now. Any God that you think you're thinking about, that's not the Lord. That's not the God of the Bible. Just because you think about some going to heaven is there to be with Jesus. That's not of the Lord. Whatever you think you're thinking about the Lord, you don't know the Lord. You don't know his reputation. You don't know what he requires of you. You understand me? You don't even know what he requires of you. That's why, we just want to get to heaven, and because we want to get to heaven so bad, damn what's going on earth. We don't care about blacks and oppression on earth. Why? Because we're trying to make it to heaven. Ask any Christian. He don't give a damn what happens here. It's such a selfish thing. So you're not mindful of the Lord. Keep reading, sir, if you could, please. 19, sir.
And when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them.
Read again.
And when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them.
Now think about the Lord watching us in our actions. And when he sees what we do, he abhorred us. You know what I mean? What does it mean to abhor? Abhor, it means to not only to hate, right? But to take action against. It means to take action against. It means I am now your enemy. I'm officially your enemy, and we're going to bump heads consistently until you bend to the Lord's will. So when the Lord saw all the evil you was doing, all the gods you were serving, he abhorred you. Go ahead.
Because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters.
Because of the provoking of his sons and daughters. What do it mean to provoke the Lord? To stir up the Lord to anger, to disappoint the Lord, to make the Lord angry. To the point where he has to take action against you. So the Lord is just, right? Think of a accountant. There has to be balances. It's not going to happen and we just sweep that under the rug. It has to be visited. So the Lord is like an accountant when it comes to justice, man. And everything, that's why the scripture says every idle word that comes out your mouth will be judged. Because everything has to be accounted for. You're not going to say something, you think you're speaking against the Lord, you're speaking against the school, you're speaking against the truth, and nothing happens? You think you raped a sister and nothing happens? You think you enslave a whole people and nothing happened? Maybe the God of the Christian church does not keep count, but the God of the Bible keeps counting. And he's going to hold us accountable for everything, right? And it don't matter how you feel personally, because when you're in front of a judge, nobody goes in front of the judge and say and tries to rewrite the law. You go in front of the judge to say if you feel you're guilty or not guilty, and prepare to present your case based on the law. Well, guess what? You're going to have to stand in front of the Lord and present your case, and you're not going to get a chance to speak because your case has already been sealed. You're presenting your case actually right now as we speak, based on what we do today, and the Lord's going to hold us accountable, right? Verse 20, sir.
Deuteronomy 32 and verse 20. And he said, I will hide my face from them.
His judgment. His judgment. Imagine the person who protects you say, I'm going to hide my face from you. You know what I mean? I'm going to hide my face from you. Imagine being in a jungle and you're left there alone. Whatever catches you, catches you. Whatever catches you. Well, let's bring it. Don't go to the jungle. Go right here to DC. Right here. Go to Philly where that brother just died. Whatever catches you, catches you. It could be a stray bullet. It could be HIV. It could be AIDS. It could be monkeypox. It could be COVID. It could be a car that lost control. It could be a pit bull. I don't know. Whatever catches you, catches you. Or oppressor pulling you over. Whatever catches you, catches you. That's why the Lord said, I will hide my face from them. Meaning that what? He's not looking to protect you. Keep reading, sir.
I will see what their end shall be.
I'm going to see what their end shall be. And the Lord is seeing what our end is. The Lord is sitting down looking at our plot and saying, this is what y'all wanted. When you cry for a brother who was just gunned down, this is what you wanted when you chose not to do it the Lord's way. When you cry over the oppression that's happening, when you can't get a job, when you can't keep a man, when your woman has whored on you, this is what you wanted because you rejected the law that the Lord gave you. You rejected instruction, you rejected order. So now the Lord hides his face from you and you catch what you catch. Now the question you have to ask yourself is, are you happy? Go into any black household, speak to any brother on the street, ask them, are you happy? If they say yes, they're lying. The only people who think they're happy while they're suffering from high blood pressure, while they're suffering from HIV and AIDS, while they're suffering from cancer, you'll see a Christian. I'll never forget, sir. I'll never forget that this Christian lady, she must have been like 400 pounds. She's on a wheelchair. Her left foot was cut off. She had missing fingers, and she had an oxygen tank. And I asked her, how are you doing today? She said, too blessed to be stressed. And I looked at her, I said, good night. Like, you don't even realize the trouble you're in. You're too blessed. Sitting in that wheelchair, 400 pounds, missing a foot, missing fingers, can't breathe without an oxygen tank. But you're too blessed. If that's the type of blessing your God has for you, I don't want to serve that God. But again, because we are under hypnosis from the Christian church, we think we're happy. And we have to say we're happy even when we are in absolute hell. Even when we're in absolute hell, we have to turn around and say, she can't even speak. I think her saying that was too much work for her. I even felt bad that I asked her how she was doing, because her having to take that mask off and force those words out, she was breathing so heavily afterwards. I said, good night. And she's blessed. I would hate to see what cursed is. And that's blessed. You know what I mean, sir?
Yeah. In that cursed situation, she should have asked herself, well, am I in the right place?
Come on. That'd be logical. Mm-hmm. That would be, I would imagine that would be the logical thing to do, because if I'm in this condition, am I in the right place? Mm-hmm. Is something wrong? And again, it brings back to what we were saying earlier, that the Christian church is so arrogant. That's why the Lord calls them arrogant, because they can't even see. It's like if you're in that situation and you are calling yourself blessed, you're arrogant. You're just arrogant. And you, like, no matter what happens to you, you're not willing to learn your lesson. You're not going to put the pork down. You're suffering from high blood, all types of evil things that happen to you, not to attack the sister, but I'm just using it as an example as to, when the Lord turns away from you, you can't win. All right. Keep reading, sir.
Verse,
I think we're verse 20, sir.
Hold on, there's a word. Okay. The latter part of verse 20. For they are a very froward generation.
Right.
Children in whom is no faith.
Right. I know we think we have faith, black man, Hispanic man, Native American Indian man. I know we think we have faith, but the faith we have is not faith, man. The faith we have is, it's a lie, right? We're faithful that, the Lord's just going to give us things for free. It's going to take winning the Lord over, right? And until you understand that, do out, sir. I mean, until you understand that, we're going to continue to suffer. As I mean, he calls us children with whom is no faith. There's no faith in us. Right, we got a little bit more I'll watch, and then I'm coming to your question. Right, verse 21, please, sir. And feel this. This is not okay. When you read this, this is not a verse. This is not a book written by some author, some man. This is God speaking right here. This is words inspired by God. This is records of what God said. If you want to hear records of what God said to the prophet Moses, this is what God said regarding blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Go ahead, sir.
I just wanted to make a point on that.
Come on.
When we was at verse 20, when the Lord called us a froward generation, meaning we're people who live contrary to what He has established.
Right.
We live contrary to His laws, statutes, and commandments.
Right.
Like we living and doing what the hell we want to do. You know what I'm saying? And we want to love everybody. We want to be a part of America. We want, the things that we don't realize are hurting us. That's what we want, when we should want life. We should want to serve the Lord. We should want to know about these people in the Bible is our culture. We should want that, but instead we're living contrary to what the Lord say.
All
right. So now verse 21. For they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God.
Think about that. The Almighty God, the most powerful being in all the universe. You know, okay. You know the man that you call Jesus Christ? Jesus Christ has kind of want to come to him. To put it in perspective. If you love Jesus Christ, Christian, and you say Jesus Christ is, you know, the greatest, and which he is. He is. That's our king. Our king takes orders from him. Our king says, nevertheless, not my will be done, but yours. So he yields completely to the person that's speaking right here.
Unbeknownst to the Christian church, Satan.
Your worst nightmare, right? God. Exactly, sir. Your worst nightmare, which you call Satan, says, I don't want to come to that. Your worst nightmare, that's his worst nightmare. If that makes sense. The spirit creature who you call your worst nightmare, the last person you ever want to run into, fears him.
That's right.
The one you praise, you claim to praise, which you don't. But the one you claim to praise fears him. He's speaking now, so you should definitely have your ears wide open.
Yep.
I mean, and he's saying something concerning blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians that explains life in America, that explains life in Puerto Rico, that explains life in Haiti, that explains life in Mexico. That you want to understand how, you know what I never understood, sir? How could God be so loving according to Christians, yet when we look around, it's nothing but misery?
Right.
If your God is all love and there's nothing but misery, then that must mean your God is weak because he can't express the love that he claims to have.
Right.
He got to just sit there with his arms crossed and says, well, I wish I could love them. But he can't take you out of the oppression. He can't take them babies out the cages, those little Mexican babies. Mm-hmm. Us as men, we see those kids in the cages, our hearts break. If God sees it and his heart breaks, then he's powerless. The Christian God is powerless, right? So unless there's something we don't understand, and this is what we have to teach, unless there's something we don't understand, and these are the words we have to speak to help the blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians to understand, God's not powerless. The Lord is watching you and waiting on you to get yourselves together. Yep. Then he'll show you his power. Then he'll be on your side. Then he'll turn his face to you.
Even now, the Lord shows you his power with COVID-19, with monkeypox, with earthquakes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? With tornadoes.
That,
with hurricanes. Like, I'm saying, like, you gotta, like, if you don't recognize God, then heck, get hit with an 18-wheeler and still survive, and you in the hospital. Who are you gonna call?
Right.
Ghostbusters? Oh God. Your mama's gonna say, "Oh God, Jesus, why did this happen to me?" So on and so forth. Well, right then and there, you'll know there's a God.
Right.
Right. Meanwhile, while life is good, you know what I'm saying? While you doing what you do, you don't think about the things that can happen to you. You know what I'm saying? And only you give praise when something you think is from God. That's the only time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, come. Most High in Christ, sir. 100% right. I mean, read 21 from the top one more time for me, sir. Because this here is like when I first read this scripture in the school, because I read the scripture many times as a Christian, I never understood what the hell I was reading. I mean, I used to have this thing, sir, where I used to read the Bible front to cover twice a year. I had a schedule, right? And I used to just read it just to say I did it, just to mark it off. Because number one, I'm not focused enough to even understand. Number one, even if I was focused, I wouldn't understand what I was reading because I don't even know the basics. But I would just be reading it, and I'd reading it, and it'd be like I get home from work, and I said, "Nah, I gotta read because I can't miss the schedule." And I sit there, and it was like I forgot how many paragraphs or chapters I had to read every night to read twice a year, and never understood a word of what I was reading.
It's crazy because in the Caribbean culture is like that,
right?
And here's the thing: like in my case. When I would read it, I couldn't see me in it. I could not see me in it.
Right.
Because of the religion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not realizing that the religion was pushing an agenda.
Right.
Which is white supremacy, which is to serve them as a God and not the true God of the Bible. You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
So I would never relate me to their Bible until the I.S.U.P.K. under Command General Yahanna.
Right.
And now it's clear. Now it's clear for you. It's clear for me.
Right.
We are the people of the book.
Come on. I mean, and I wish. Look, what Cap I.S.U.P.K is saying is so heavy, man. I wish you could understand what we're saying, Christian. Like, I wish you could understand like what angle we're coming from when we're saying what we're saying. Like, they hear us, and I empathize with them because I used to be in that seat where I hear what you're saying, but it's not comprehending. I guess unless, like the scripture says, unless the Lord allows you to understand. You know what I mean? If the Lord doesn't want you to understand, then you're just gonna, you just dead meat. I mean, all you could do, man. Only advice I could have for a Christian is do something unchristian, so the Lord could look at you and say, "Hold on, there's some potential there." Not that you could impress him, but as a desperate attempt to get some attention.
On the point when you said do something unchristian, well, because there'll be those that be like, well, smoking is unchristian,
right?
Well, here's the news. But those who say that smoking is unchristian and stealing is unchristian and swinging on poles is unchristian, let me let you know something.
Right.
Those things are Christian.
Right. Right.
Selling drugs is Christian.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Being in the gang is Christian.
Right.
What is unchristian is actually doing the law, statutes, and commandments.
Right.
See the big difference?
Salaki, sir. That's why I have Cap I.S.U.P.K here, because I'm speaking like he knows y'all don't know what we're talking about. I mean, so he has to clear it up for you. You know what I mean? Because and the proof to what he's saying is this. Next time you see somebody smoking a cigarette, if you think that it's unchristian, go to them and ask them what's their religion. Ask them. Go into the jails and ask the prisoners, who is this? Yep. Ask them. Yep. Ask them who this man is. Yep. You know how many gangsters want to fight us on the streets because this is on the floor? How many gangsters wear Jesus pieces? Right. Khan. They wear Jesus pieces. That so on the pole wearing the Jesus piece on my ankle. Right. You know? I mean, there was that famous picture of a group of strippers who are in a circle holding hands in their stripper outfits praying before they go out and strip. They're Christian. So when we say do something unchristian, we're not talking about that. You know what I mean? Even that is, we're so brainwashed. It's sad, sir.
Hold on. Even some years ago, I don't know if you recall this, but some years ago, there was a Christian church that promoted twerking for Christ.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Come on. You know what I mean? Y'all think I'm going to go up in heaven and twerk. Look, it's sad. Look, when I feel, don't mind my laughing. When I feel bad for somebody, it's just instinct. I laugh. It's like, it's always been a bad habit of mine. So I'm not laughing at you, brothers. I mean, it just perplexes me. You know what I mean? So like I said, if you can reach for the top one more time.
Deuteronomy 32 and verse 21, right?
Khan.
They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities.
Remember who's speaking here. Go ahead, keep reading, sir.
And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people.
Payback is something crazy, man. I will move them to jealousy with them who are what?
I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people.
This is the Lord speaking, man. He's going to move you to jealousy with those who are not a people. Meaning what? The people who are going to be in charge of you and in place of you. You're Yashala. You're supposed to be running the earth. Our role on earth is to be the sons of God. Now you got to sit down and hear the queen is dead. What queen? Who anointed her queen? The Lord didn't put her as queen. The Lord didn't want her to be queen. She's queen because she had to be in your place. A people who's not a people. I mean, they're your kings and queens now. Now, the people of the islands of Jamaica are waiting for the new king now. This is the new king now. This is the new queen now. When the people of Jamaica are the royal family. They are the royal family. Always have been. The people of Puerto Rico, the people of Haiti, The blacks in America, the people who call themselves African American, they are brothers on reservation. We are the royal family. But now the Lord has to put a people who are not a people over you. I mean, now you have to sit down and hear of all their success. You know, now you have to sit down and hear, well, you know, this person is white. They have good credit automatically.
You got to hear about Jeff Bezos with a multi-billion-dollar person, his value, Elon Musk. You got to see their cities that they build up. Then you look at it, the glamour and the glitter of it. Wish that was you, but you feeling jealous because that ain't you.
Right.
You know,
you sitting there hearing about billion-dollar deals going on, and you're just hearing about it while your lights are off in your house. I mean, talk about all these. Take it away from America. Go into the Saudi Arabia. Good night. Right. These people are rich beyond belief. While
if I add on to that too, even being the fact of them having their own military and you don't, even the fact that they have their own financial structure and we don't. They have their own culture. Where's ours? Theirs.
Right.
They have their own languages. Where's ours?
Right. Right.
You know, that moves us to jealousy.
Right.
If you're a thinking person, you will want to turn back to the Lord to get all that from Him.
Right. Right. And this is and also here's the precept also for what the Cap I.S.U.P.K was just saying. King Solomon himself said, I have seen servants on horses and princes on foot. He's telling you it should be reversed.
And the fact that he let you know these are royal people who are now the servants.
Right.
Come on.
Right. I mean, he's seen that. And he told you, I've seen that. And it perplexed him. That's why they have to record it, because he's like, something's wrong in what I just seen. The princes on foot, the servants on horses. That tells you that there definitely should be a servant on the earth. Yeah. Not you, black man, Hispanic man. Look, we got to put out, like, when I read things like that, it hypes me up, but frustrates me at the same time. You know what I mean? It's like you're held back, right? And we holding each other back. We're holding each other back by not adhering to what the Bible is saying, man. I mean, there's power in these words, man. There's power in this book. But the first thing, this black man, I seen a brother on the street the other day, homeless. You know what I mean? He had, and I recognized the military bag he had that big military bag. You know what I mean? This is a man who gave his life for this world. And he is a servant here begging. That's not what the Lord wants for us. You know what I mean? He got to watch all the people he went and fought for and risked his life for and risked and destroy his mental health for as they prosper, and he sleeps on the streets. Nah, man. I mean, but that's what the Lord is saying here. You know, he's going to take a people who are not a people and make them, put them over you. If you could, sir, a little bit more.
I was going to put that image.
Khan, sir. Oh, yeah, that image, yeah, right.
When you said servants on horses
and
princes on servants.
Right.
If I may, I just want to give them because sometimes you gotta feed some brothers and sisters some visuals, right?
Right. Khan, sir. That's a good call. I mean, I believe that that image is I think the president on there is Roosevelt.
Hold on. Yeah.
I'm giving away?
Oh yes. But there it is. I don't know if
I'm giving away, so Slacky.
Two Israelites who are the princes. Right? And
that is so heavy.
Is on the horse.
That is so heavy because, and you seen the brother, the Hispanic, the Native American brother, yep, and the black brother.
Yep.
I mean, it's like this is so spiritual. I mean, and if you can't get that, man, and blacks and Hispanics, Native American Indians, if you don't understand when you look at this picture that you are brothers oppressed by the same devil, yep, you're not going to get it. Yep. I mean, you're not going to get it. You know, you got to come in here and be brainwashed a little bit. Like Jeremiah Muhammad says, to remove their brainwashing off you and put the righteous brainwashing on you, man. Clean all that nonsense out your head that we're enemies. I mean, or we could all get along together. I mean, look at that man on the horse. Does he look like somebody who wants to step down and walk with you? Does he look like he want to bring all two of you up on the horse with him? No. I mean, he understands we can't all be equal. And he got to keep you in your place so that he could remain in his place. That's what life's about. I mean,
that moves you to jealousy.
Yeah, so I can say I'm tired of walking. I'm tired of walking. I mean, I'm ready to jump on the horse.
Yep, that's it.
I mean, but but here's the problem, and this is what Christians don't understand. I can't jump on the horse alone. Cap Ashapon can't jump on the horse alone. The Lord's not going to let us jump on the horse without you.
That's right.
That's why we're pleading with you. You take this as hate. This is hate speech to some people that we want to take you out of oppression. So leaving them in oppression is hate. I don't even want to get off the topics of Salakia. I could a little bit more in that scripture.
Come on, so at the end of it. This is Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 21 at the end of it. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation.
With a what?
With a foolish nation.
You know one of the most Salakia said. So often you'll see a brother or a sister see some heathen do something, like let's say they see a Caucasian do something, right? And they'll be like, that's white people ish. Automatically they'll say it because that's foolishness.
That's right.
I mean, they'll see somebody licking the dog's tongue, and they'll say they'll realize that's a foolish nation because the things they do don't make sense. I mean,
and it's childish and it's stupid.
Right. You know what I mean? And this is what the Lord is saying. He's saying he is going to put a foolish nation over you. Since you want to be a fool, go be a fool with the fools. Now you are adapting to their culture. Now they tell you, what's lawful. They tell you what you can eat, what you can't eat. I mean, they tell you can eat pork, then they turn around and say, you know what? We're not supposed to eat meat, period. Everybody be vegan. Like I was watching this protest where these vegans, they're violent, sir. Salakia. They're very violent. Like they like people think it's just a like that's why I always say that stuff is a religion, because these people they had knives and they were busting the tires of milk trucks because they felt like the milk trucks is offensive because it's carrying cow milk. So it's not going to get delivered. So they're just busting the milk. Like they had masks on. They're just busting it and running. This is them.
You want to cross my mind as you saying that they busting the wheels off the milk trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't they busting the breasts of women who got to feed their child?
Right.
Milk?
Because they're a foolish nation. I mean, they're a foolish nation.
There it is.
Yeah. And they think they're being merciful to the cow because they love the cows, and how dare you do this to the cows? I mean, and if they were so merciful, they should be at the gates of where those Mexican kids are behind cages. They should be instead of rushing into the White House, rushing there. Go in there if you're so righteous, but you're a foolish nation. You are fighting over, save the whales, save the cows, while you are the number one oppressor on the earth. I mean, and you think you're going to wash your hands clean by doing that? That's not going to save you. You are, again, the Lord calls them a foolish nation. And Christians don't read this. Like if I'm going to be an honest person, right? And I see it says here, I'm going to put you under a foolish nation. You know what I'm going to try to do? I'm going to try to find out who is the foolish nation and who is the Lord's people. But a Christian is scared to go there because you might not like the answer.
The reason is, pick up that sign again.
Khan.
That's why. Right there.
Right?
Right there.
Right?
That's
is it
why
right
it's
here?
To go there. Because of that.
Right? Right? Because you might have to turn your back on this.
That image says love everybody.
Yep.
We should all be together.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That image right there says it all. But that's the same image that is keeping us where we at in this same condition. You know what I'm saying?
Khan.
We already fixed him to be the superhero.
Right.
But this superhero ain't helping us.
Right. this devil here, he is Jesus. He is Superman. He is everything right. I mean, he's everything right
Yes.
when he's really the devil the Bible speaks of.
Right.
I mean, when he's really here to destroy you. I mean, a foolish nation, sir. If it could, go ahead, please.
Verse 22, for a fire is kindled in mine anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains.
Right. If you could skip to me, Salaki, to verse 25, sir,
25.
for sake of time.
The sword without and terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also, and the man of gray hair.
If you want to understand the black community and what's been going on in the Hispanic community and what's been going on there, the Native American Indian, the reservations, what's been going on there, Y.P.N.B. What's the brother's name? The rapper's name? Ahwaryam, P.N.B. Rock. Why he had to be murdered, man? Well, I think he was feeding his daughter when they killed him.
And that was in L.A.
Right. Why he had to die the way he died. I mean, if you want to understand why black, like George Floyd, I still remember that brother, they killed him in the car, and his wife and his daughter was there. And the yells of his wife and the baby trying to calm her down, saying, I don't want him to kill you too. Like,
that's right there, heartbreaking.
When I seen that, it was so infuriating that this little girl, like, she realized what happened, and she's trying to save one because she just lost one, so she can't lose both. If you want to understand why these things happen, this is why. If you could read one more time, Cap, please.
Deuteronomy 32 and verse 25. For the sword without and terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin,
which is the young women,
the suckling,
the babies,
and also the man of gray hair,
and also the older men and women. I mean, this is what the Lord is saying is going to happen to you if you don't get in order. This is the God of the Bible right here. That genie that you worship, that grants you wishes all day, he doesn't exist. And this is proof. Like, this reality is here. The reality of the Christian church does not exist. That paradise they're talking about, that heaven they're talking about, doesn't exist. They can't point me to it. Right? The paradise of the Muslim mosque, that's why they tell you what? You got to die to get there. Because they can't show it to you here under the sun. This here is under the sun. This here is happening to God's chosen people right now. I mean, it's only one people. I know the sister, right? Slackers, I know the sister, right? She is she's Muslim, right? She's a sister though. Her father is a brother. Her mother was a heathen. Her father died when she was 5. He was murdered because he was a drug dealer when he was 5, right? So I would speak to her, and she was talking about how, her and her Muslim sisters all get along. And I asked her, I said, which one of them didn't have a father when they grew up? She was like, no, they all have their fathers. I said, it's funny how you have more in common than other black women than with them. Why is that? And she can't get it. She doesn't understand what I'm telling her because she can't understand that she is different. Like, it don't matter what you want to believe, you're going to face these plagues. And you have to lose your father because he was selling crack and was murdered on the street corner when he was 5 years old. They don't face that. They have their mothers. They have their fathers. They're different from you, right? And she can't understand that. This here is real life for black people. This is not something that's happening in no fairy tale. I mean, that's why we make the best story. That's why everybody want to make movies about us, and all these things. And you want to hear the stories and the raps because our life is action-packed for all the negative things, all the drama. I mean, what's the new word they use? This is new, toxic. All right, they didn't have these words when I was young. Just toxic. All the toxicness, if that's a word, that's what we're dealing with. I mean, and the Lord tells you right here, right? If you could keep reading, sir.
Verse 26. This is Deuteronomy 32 and verse 26. I said, I would scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men.
Good night. I mean, Salaki, sir. Go ahead. I know you want to.
If Christians understood this
Right.
scripture, then they would understand what was the mission of Paul.
Right.
They would understand when Peter saw in the vision the blanket tied on every corner with the abominable creatures. If they would understand,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Our brothers and sisters who want everybody to be joining because of that image, in reality, you don't know the scripture.
Right.
This is telling, the Lord is even telling us, giving us the reason as to why He sent us to all the corners of the earth, because we didn't listen.
Right.
We didn't follow what He said do. We didn't live to His standards. Therefore, we're destroyed.
Right. Khan 100%. I mean, and that's exactly what it is. And the Lord, to the point where I would make the remembrance of them cease from among men.
That's deep.
Now you going from Yasha Allah, for those who don't understand what it is, that's Prince of the Power. To make it even clearer, it's the sons of God. That's your title.
The Prince of Power.
Prince of Power. You going from that to nigger, to African American, to wetbacks, to spics. Like, you go from having that title to be named property under a foolish nation.
Yep.
That is embarrassing, sir. I mean, that is embarrassing. They're talking about being demoted, the demotion. I mean, you've gone under the slave. We went under the slaves, under the servants, and have become like our remembrance has ceased. Come on. Our remembrance has ceased from among men, meaning that we were, even when you read in the Garden of Eden, or outside the Garden of Eden, where, you know, it says the sons of God, and you think in your mind, your Christian mind, you think, oh, the angels. When it says the sons of God took the daughters of men, that's talking about the sons of God being the God's chosen people, the Prince of the Power. They did something wrong and going and taking the heathen women and marrying the heathen women and having children with the heathen women. That's what he's talking about. But we're so far removed from who we are. When we see the sons of God, we can't imagine he's talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. We can't even imagine that because we're so far gone from where we at. Imagine that. And remember, like we said earlier, this is the Lord speaking. This is the Lord talking about what He is going to do to us if we do not follow His orders. If we can't learn to follow His orders, this is what's going to happen to us. And black man, Hispanic man, Native American man, and woman, we better get in line, man. We better fight. We better fight to regain the Lord's favor, man, to show Him, I mean, that we do want to be who He has called us to be. We don't want to follow the heathen. You know, we don't want to follow, you know, all these evil customs that we've been taught since we were children. And it's not an easy fight because, like, I'll watch it. Like, for example, I was talking to a sister the other day, you know, and, you know, she's talking about, she is a young sister, but she's already planning her marriage, right? And she's telling you what her wedding's going to be like. And I realized that this sister is basing all of those thoughts off the fairy tales she's been fed since she was a baby. Since she was a child, she's been watching fairy tales. She watched Cinderella. She watched The Little Mermaid. She watched all these things. And she thinks this is what life is about. I mean, when there's much more to life than that, man. I mean, there was much more to life than that. So like I say, we'll continue verse 27, sir.
27. Deuteronomy 32 and 27. Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, and lest they should say, our hand is high, and the Lord hath not done all this.
If you want to understand why we still hear black man, Hispanic man, Native American Indian man, the Lord don't want the nations to vote. Like, they tried. They tried to destroy us. And the Lord let them destroy us. They would boast and say, you see what we did? We won. We destroyed them. So for the sake of the Lord's reputation, that window is still open for us. That window is still open for you, black man, Hispanic man, Native American, Indian man. I mean, that window is still open for you. Give me a little bit more, sir. So I can say you had something.
No. Verse 28.
Please.
Deuteronomy 32 and 28. For they are a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them.
Right. I mean, this is speaking about the heathen, that the Lord does not want to boast about you. They're a foolish nation. Check this out. One more, sir.
29. Oh, that they were wise, that they should understand it, that they would consider their latter end.
If they were only, now this is the good news for you, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man. They are being set up right now. The heathen are being set up. They don't even realize what their end is going to be. Like, what father is going to let you completely destroy his children and you not pay no penalty? The penalty is coming. I mean, the penalty is coming. Now, here's a question. Go ahead, sir.
You can flip this on us as well. We're void we're a nation void of counsel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And because we don't have the counsel from the Lord, we don't have understanding.
Right.
We don't have, wisdom from the Lord.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And,
when he said, "Oh, that they were wise, that they should understand," is like if we considered, and what was going on and what we did against the Lord.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Then we would understand what would happen to us at the end. But we don't have no thought about it. We don't even know what's our end.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All we know is when we go through something.
Right.
And
exactly.
Then we see, okay,
No, come on, 100%. I mean, that's heavy. I mean, because this next verse here could be flipped on us also, right? This verse here is going to answer a question that I've heard asked plenty of times, sir, in the world, right? When they say, when you read this, when they say, when they talk about the transatlantic slave trade, and they'll have thousands of slaves on there, and there'll be like 50 crewmen.
Right.
And they say, how you let them take you? Right?
Bum rushed them.
When you read till this day, when you think about prisons, a few guards, right? When you watched that devil's knee on George Floyd's neck and all those people were out there, right? And you said, why don't they just rush them? Why you just let them kill him? And he suffocated brother in front of everybody, who by instinct, we're not supposed to even be able to tolerate seeing a brother murdered like that by heathen, slowly murdered, gasping for air. This scripture here answers that question. If you could, please, sir.
Deuteronomy 32 and 30. How should one chase 1,000?
How can one person chase 1,000 people? Go ahead.
And two put 10,000 to flight.
And two chase 10,000. How is that possible? Go ahead.
Except their rock had sold them.
Except what?
Their rock had sold them.
Except the Lord has sold you, man. The Lord sets you up, black man, Hispanic man, Native American Indian man, because we don't want to listen to him. So he sold us, right? He let us go. He turned his face from us. And that's why we're overpowered by the weak, by people who are not a people, by a foolish nation, according to the Bible, right? According to the Bible, by a foolish nation who don't even know what their end is, yet they are able to dominate us. You know what I mean? They're able to dominate us. They're not like you. Well, I don't even want to get a topic. It's like, is there anything else on that?
Oh, it's like the ending of that verse says, except their rock had sold them, and the Lord had shut them up. Verse 31, for their rock is not our rock, even our enemies themselves being judges.
Right. That's what I mean. And that was that on that, sir, unless you had something else you wanted to add to it. I mean, I just wanted to bring out the point that black man, Hispanic man, if you want to understand why we suffer the way we suffer, this is why. We look, if you don't fully understand what we went over here, come into class. Keep checking into class. And I mean, don't be afraid to come into the school, right? Come in, sit down, ask your questions. This is the only place, right? And I've never seen a place like this, sir, where you can come in and ask questions. Other places, you know what they do? I'll give you one. the Christian church that I was familiar with, you read what they wrote, they ask the question, and you reply to them according to what's on the paragraph. That is brainwashing 101. So you read something I gave you, and then I ask you a question based on what I just read, and all you gotta do is repeat what you just read. And that's what they call asking questions or answering questions. That is brainwashing 101. I mean, because they're trying to get it into your mind. So you take it in and then repeat it to them. That's all it is.
Most people don't even bother asking any pastor.
No.
Questions. You know what I'm saying? You see when T.D. Jason Creflo died.
Yeah.
If you, I mean, they on TV.
Right.
To be broadcast all over the planet.
Right.
Have you ever seen anybody that Pastor, you know, pass the dollars?
Pass the dollars.
What does this mean? Agency. Nobody asked a question.
Right.
You know?
Right. I mean, so definitely come in here, man. Ask your questions. Get to understand what's happening. I mean, understand for the first time why we're going through what we're going through, why your mom is going through it, why your father's going through it, why your brother's going through it, that we may turn the tides. I mean, and return to a righteous people, man, and put our spirit back on, and be the princes of the power, the prince of the power again. I mean, Elijah had a question. Salaka, I don't want. A brother asked me for a breakdown to prove that women can wear jewelry. Okay, no sweat. Elijah, there's a couple places you could go. I'm gonna stay on the topic, but still answer that question. Right? We're gonna go, if I could, sir, to we're gonna go to Isaiah chapter 3.
Okay, this is a more direct one with Aaron when he made the golden calf.
Come on. We could go there too, sir.
Mm-hmm.
We can go there too, son. Sir, it's
Just 1 second.
Come on. Then that is in. I'll go Ezekiel chapter 32, right? And if we go to verse.
Ezekiel 32.
No, so like Exodus.
Oh, okay.
So like Exodus 32.
Right. And we can start at verse 1, right?
Come.
Exodus 32 and 1. But when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. Verse 2. And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives.
Break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives.
Of your sons.
Right.
And of your daughters, and bring them unto me.
Right. I mean, this is telling you that this was the custom of the Israelites to wear these things. Right. This was a custom, definitely a custom for them. It's not a strange thing. Right. We could also go into Isaiah chapter 3. Right, real quick, we're going to Isaiah chapter 3. And if we go to verse 20, well, we could go to verse
21.
Verse 16, sir.
16. Isaiah 3:16.
Good. Slack, sir.
Moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion, which are haughty.
This is speaking about the sisters, blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indian sisters. Because they are haughty, meaning arrogant, right? Because they are arrogant. Go ahead.
And walk with stretched forth necks.
Because they walk with stretched forth necks, meaning that they are gossiping. They were arrogant. They're in everybody's business, just like the sisters are today, right? And proud. Come on, sir. Go ahead.
And wanton eyes.
And wanton eyes. I mean, what does wanton eyes mean? Flirting eyes.
They want everything they see.
Right. Come on. Go ahead.
Walking and mincing as they go.
Go ahead.
And making tinkling with their feet.
Right. Making tinkling with their feet mean what? They used to have what on their feet?
And still do.
Go ahead.
The little ankle bracelets.
Jewelry. Yeah. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 17, therefore the Lord will smite with a scab of the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion.
Right? Now here comes the punishments. The Lord's going to strike you with in the scalp. This black women today spend so much money on hair today, right? Because they're wearing all these wigs and these Brazilian lace fronts and all types of nonsense, right? Take it for the cap, please.
God, sir. Verse 17. Therefore the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion.
Go ahead.
And the Lord will discover their secret parts.
Go ahead.
Verse 18. In that day the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet.
So this tinkling ornament about their feet, these bracelets, they're nice, right? They're nice, but in that day, the Lord will take it away. That's a punishment, right? Go ahead.
And their calls.
Go ahead.
And their round ties like the moon.
Go ahead.
Verse 19. And the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers.
Chains, bracelets, all these, this is all jewelry, Roger. I mean, these are all things that they were accustomed to wearing, but because of their arrogance and of their being proud and haughty, the Lord is going to punish them by taking these things away. Go ahead.
Verse 20, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs.
Hair, like bonnets, right? All these head wraps, the sisters wear these beautiful head wraps, and the ornaments of the leg. Go ahead.
And the headbands,
and the tablets. These are all things, and earrings. These are all things that sisters would wear. Bonnets, ornaments of the legs, headbands, and tablets and earrings. These things, none of these things are unlawful. You understand me? None of these things are unlawful, right? And I'll keep reading. The rings and nose jewels. Again, this is what they would wear. The Lord is going to take it away from them. And the changeable suits of apparel, the different garments, these are not unlawful. The different dresses that the sisters would wear, the Lord is going to take it away from them. And the mantles and the wimples and the crispin pins. Crispin pins is like, they have, if you ever watch Game of Thrones, for example, right? And the hand of the king had this pin, right? Crispin pin that they would wear on their dresses, on their garments. So these sisters had those types of things. These things are not unlawful. The Lord is taking away from them as a punishment. Verse 25. Go ahead, Shapat.
Sir. Thy men shall fall by the sword.
Sorry, 23.
23. Sir. Verse 23. The glasses and the fine linen.
The glasses and the fine linen. I mean, and this is black women and Hispanic women, well dressed, but because they're so arrogant, the Lord is going to punish them by taking these things away. Go ahead.
And the hoods and the veils.
And the hoods and the veils. Watch it. These are all things that the Lord is taking away from them because of the evil they were doing. Right? Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that instead of the sweet smell there shall be stink.
Instead of a sweet smell, right? What was the sweet smell they had? The perfumes, the oils, right? These things not unlawful. But instead of the sweet smell, they would have a what?
Instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink.
There shall be stink. That's what I mean? Go ahead.
And instead
I don't have to tell you what stink is, do I? That. Instead of sweet smell, there'll be stink. Go ahead.
And instead of a girdle, a rent.
Instead of a girdle, meaning a nice belt, instead of a girdle, you have a rent. What's a rent?
A rent. A tear.
No.
A rent.
A rent. You see there? What's a rent?
Like just a, I don't know, bag. You know what I'm saying? Sackcloth or something.
A rent is a piece of rope.
Oh, common concept.
You understand what I mean? So instead of a girdle, it'll be a rent, meaning that you're just gonna tie a piece of rope. Now I want you to imagine what's happening. Instead of a sweet smell, a stink. Instead of a girdle, a rent. Go ahead.
Come. And instead of well-set hair, baldness.
Instead of well-set hair, baldness. Right? Go ahead.
Come. And instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth.
A what?
A girding of sackcloth.
Go ahead.
And burning instead of beauty.
And what?
Burning instead of beauty.
What's it talking about there?
Like ugly, like more ugly instead of
that whole plate, that whole thing. Instead of a girdle, a rent. Instead of well-set hair, baldness. Instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth. And the burning instead of beauty.
Like when you say that somebody take care of themselves, like, you know what I'm saying, well kept, they won't be well kept at all.
Right. But what's the situation the Lord is foretelling right now? Curse, right? I'll give it to you for the sake of time. Slavery. You're gonna come out your kingdom, out of the place where you're comfortable and beautiful. Salaka, sir. You're gonna come out of your place of, the place where you're comfortable. Think about it. Instead of a girdle, a rope.
Right.
Instead of well-set hair, baldness. Instead of a nice garment, sackcloth. And burning instead of, you know what that burning is? When they didn't mark you like they marked the cow. as a slave.
Cow.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, my last name is William. They used to put that on you like you were goddamn cattle.
Wow.
You understand? That's what he's talking about here, right? But the point I'm making, Ahwaryam, is all these things that were mentioned above were taken from the sisters, right? The jewelry, the nose rings, the earrings, the headbands, the bonnets. Right now, and let me tell you something, man. Right now, the I.S.U.P.K is the only place where you've seen the sisters return to the bonnets, the headpieces, and all the culture. You understand? In a modest way. You know what I mean? So I hopefully that answers your question, brother. All right. With that, time now 8:59. We'll pass the class over to the priest and officer Shapat. Shapat Tayah. Take your time, bro. Take your time.
I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We at I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yahanna. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They're to be saluted only. They're here to share themselves with the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. It means 10 in Hebrew, and it's pronounced by I.S.U.P.K. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, you give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whichever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocation, memorial of blowing of the trumpets, first day of the 7th month, Sunday the 25th, September 2022. You can find this in the book of Leviticus chapter 23, verse 24 through 25. Remind Akim Ahwaryam.
Salaka, and that is on a Sunday, and the DC school will be going up to Baltimore to be with the Akim up there. So those in DC school will be going up to Baltimore. Please, as I mentioned in the messages, please continue to donate towards that. Right, we want to participate fully in it. Right, we're gonna donate. We're gonna bring food. And we're gonna definitely participate. Be ready to participate in the entire event. Salaki Shabbat.
Come. Remind Akim Ahwaryam to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for I.S.U.P.K events and materials. If a brother wants to be a troop in the school, you should start wearing all black, which includes black boots, black shirts, black pants, black headband, and scarf. And with that, I say Ahwaryam, which means to stand. We'll give a courtesy salute to the teacher, men of Israel, Madam Shabbat, Emmanuel, Barak, Yahba Hashem Shabbat
Yahba Shemir Shabbat.
Yat Yamata, class dismissed.